What's going on, Koi Fish? Welcome back to your favorite pond. As always, I am joined with the beast himself, K-Dog.
Good day to you.
And myself, Colin. Welcome back to Coy Pond, episode 44.
Woohoo.
How about that?
Rock
Week
on.
1 of the NFL is done, underway. Hopefully everyone won their fantasy leagues, made some money, whatever you're into. Personally went 2-1 on the fantasy week. Pretty good lucky pulls from Ramondre Stevenson. Apologies to the Bengals for what that was all about. We'll get into that here in a little bit.
Oh for 4.
You know,
Spectacular week for the Coy boys here.
you know, it's
This Coy boy.
Yeah, well, it happens. You know, that's the beauty of fantasy. There's still 15 weeks left-ish in fantasy football, so plenty of time to get hot, similarly to the NFL. Today we're just going to basically kind of talk about what happened this week 1 and go over kind of our picks and what we like for week 2.
Right on.
We're right back to the groove we started in, and hopefully this time it'll be a little bit better.
Right
and
on.
Thank you to the 74th subscriber.
Woo! I didn't see that.
I just saw it when I was looking up the stuff. Don't know who you are, but
Here's to you.
welcome. Yes.
Thank
You're
you
here.
much.
Nevertheless, we'll just go ahead and dive right into it and kind of talking about what happened in week 1. I guess there's no better place to start than the Ravens-Chiefs out of the
Perfect.
gate. You know, crazy game. That was a good game.
It was.
Sadly, we picked the under and it hit over by half a point.
Damn.
47 points. So
That's amazing.
Coy Pond starting out 0-1 on the picks this season, but it's only up from there. But to get back into it, Ravens almost tied up at the end.
Yeah.
You know,
I
should
say
have won.
likely comes up just a toenail short.
Had a great week, and Mark Andrews was MIA. You know, I was kind of surprised by that, but nevertheless, likely was used most of the time last year with Andrews out, so
Right.
I guess it makes sense looking back. But, you know, should have worn white cleats.
Yeah.
Should have worn white cleats.
Yeah. Pat Mahomes said that.
Yep.
So
And, you know, going into Arrowhead, that's a tough place to win week 1 for sure.
so tough. And the Chiefs can find so many different ways to beat you. Now they have Xavier Worthy, who takes the top off.
Who would have guessed?
Like Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Maybe even better than that
Yeah.
in time here. We'll see.
You know, it's one of those things, they talked about that at one point, that being their new Tyreek, and, you know, it's like, okay.
Sure he is.
It takes not maybe a special person, but a specific person to take on the role that Tyreek had on that offense. Sure enough, first touchdown is that Xavier Worthy around the side.
Yeah.
What was jet sweep, I guess?
Yeah.
Just in for a touchdown. And he was quick.
He was quick.
It was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So nevertheless, no one ever guessed it, but Chiefs are not dead. They're
Yeah.
very much alive, and they showed out on the first week.
Those of us that had Worthy in our fantasy leagues, I don't know that many people, if any, started him.
I'd be
Wanted to
impressed.
see what happened, but you know, there's a good person on the bench, and we'll see if he can keep it going in week 2.
Yeah, you know, Derrick Henry did not look terrible. It felt like he might have pittered out a little bit in the second half, if I'm remembering the game right.
Yeah.
I could be remembering it wrong. We had a fun night, but yeah, Ravens lost. They've got to bounce back, but you know, it's the Ravens and Chiefs. I'm not worried about the Ravens in that
Yep.
situation. Chiefs still have a very good defense, no doubt.
No doubt about it.
Looking to the Packers-Eagles game that happened Friday.
Another great game.
Another great game, and
Yeah.
Saquon is a damn dog.
Don't tell the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, you gave him away for nothing.
Wow.
Still the dumbest thing I've ever seen in the NFL.
Unbelievable.
Just behind Deshaun Watson, but we'll get there. 3 touchdowns. Runs train on the Packers. That game stays close the entire time.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing having Friday Night Football. The you know, Jordan Love gets hurt last 5 seconds of the game, or with 5 seconds left on the
Yeah.
clock.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be out for a few weeks, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard an exact timetable, so
Still-
don't quote me.
Still hearing like 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. And
Haven't
then
heard anything
there's
different yet.
Different people have said 4, some people have said 6. It's, who knows? It'll be somewhere in
He's
there.
out.
But Malik Willis,
Right?
woof.
Here we go.
Colts might get one on him, honestly. And that'd be huge for them.
It's possible. I mean, the Packers, I mean, that passing game is so dangerous.
It is.
With Jordan Love in there, and there's amazing receivers that he has.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Jaden Reed went off with a big play in that game, and he's got many more weapons than that. But it's going to be interesting to see how this goes without Jordan Love in there.
Completely agree. And I was not exactly impressed with Josh Jacobs either, to be honest. In that
Agree.
game. I was expecting a lot more from him.
Me
I had
too.
a lot more money on him.
Did you?
But beside the point,
Big bucks?
nothing huge. But, you know, maybe we see him really pop off week 2, only because, you know, the Eagles do have a great defense.
They do.
The Packers carved it up, and it was in Brazil. So
Yeah.
the defense probably looked a little bit less than it really is.
Yeah.
But I can't remember who the Eagles play next.
I'm not sure either. We'll get to it though.
Well, that's a later thing. But nevertheless, maybe Josh Jacobs will do better in week 2. I'm not ready to write him off as it's Josh Jacobs. You can't bust him yet. But after what Aaron Jones looked like, it's a little rough to see that Packers let him go and just pick up Josh Jacobs like that.
Just crazy stuff. I mean, and the Eagles look pretty darn good. I mean,
they did.
Jalen Hurts pretty well back to where he was.
Yeah.
Maybe a few issues without having Kelsey at center.
Yeah.
But they'll figure it out. And I mean, that they looked very strong.
With Saquon, it's like, Jesus Christ, here we go again.
Yeah.
And then, looking at the 1 o'clock games, one of the ones that popped out to me, obviously, Steelers-Falcons.
Yeah.
The Steelers win with 6 field goals, no touchdowns.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins getting absolutely railed by TJ Watt.
Yep.
Across the board, you kind of have to assume the offenses were just down in general.
Sure.
It was not a great look.
And to me, that game just shows, I mean, Kirk Cousins, the $400 million man, Justin Fields thrown aside by the Bears, and Mike Tomlin once again finds a way, with everything he's got there, and Arthur from the Falcons,
Arthur Smith, something like that.
Yep, gets his revenge on his old team to boot, and again, Mike Tomlin just doesn't matter. I mean, that defense is so incredibly good.
Locked down.
The thing that struck me watching that game was how much Kirk Cousins just looked pedestrian.
He did.
Afraid. And again, I don't blame him. No. T.J. Watt was coming at me. I'd throw to the ground too.
That could be one of the best lines they face. And facing him week 1, I'm not out on Kirk Cousins yet.
Yeah.
Because I do give him his flowers in the sense of not many quarterbacks will do well against the Steelers.
Yeah.
But to look that bad at home is, it swings it back the other way where it's like, okay, you paid this man how much money to not get any Bijan touchdown? Maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
It was like, come on.
Yeah, it's pretty thin, and again, it's just that
it was Kyle Pitts. It wasn't even Bijan.
Kyle Smith Pitts.
Yeah. Sorry.
But he just looked small in how he played. That's the thing that struck me.
And new coaching over there too, and then new plays for Kirk Cousins. Maybe they should bounce back. I'm not too worried about the Falcons just yet.
Yeah.
But again, it just goes to show coaching and that defense for the Steelers, they will make it work.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Bills Cardinals, touch on it quickly. I mean, Bills come back and win that game. Cardinals look pretty darn good though.
Yeah. I mean, out of the gate, Cardinals came out firing on all cylinders. It was pretty impressive, honestly.
Really was.
And Marvin Harrison didn't get really any touches, I don't believe. It was like two catches, maybe.
I think so.
It was pretty rough. And then it came out today that I'll try and find the tweet, but it was something like, it's not Kyler's job to feed him the ball or to get him the ball. So if that's a real statement, I'm not saying it is, but if that's a real statement, good Lord, Cardinals are already setting themselves on fire after blowing a game because they were in the lead for the longest time, and then Josh Allen just started running it in.
Yep. Josh Allen, again, got to be careful. Mm-hmm. That guy is, his mentality is so tough, but you're made of bones. They break. And at some point, if Josh Allen keeps doing that stuff,
something's going to catch up.
It's going to catch up with him, no doubt about it. So, probably ought to mention the Titans-Bears.
That was a crazy game to watch.
17-0 at one point. Yep. Titans. Don't know if you heard the comments by Brian Callahan.
Oh, yeah.
But he said, had we just punted, we'd won the game.
I know.
I didn't realize it was that bad with Will Levis. But he has 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter. One was a pick six?
Yeah, it was the one where he fell on his knees and flipped it up, and then the defender just jumped it and ran it in for a touchdown.
If you haven't heard Brian Callahan talk about that and how pissed he was, it's something to listen to.
I don't blame him because you said it last week, and we've talked about it. Brian Callahan isn't gonna let this team suck.
No,
and they showed that.
And they had.
They were doing great.
And they didn't need anything but a game manager at best. Just don't fuck up.
Yep.
And oh my God, 3 fuck-ups in the fourth when you didn't even have to be forcing the ball.
No.
That's what Brian Callahan was so pissed about.
And it makes sense. Will Levis is a young quarterback. Hopefully he figures it out. I don't personally have high hopes for him. I won't rule him out, but those simple things where it's like, just take the sack.
Yeah.
Take the sack, punt it away. Caleb Williams that game had 88 yards.
Yeah. It was just
some crazy low passing overall, and that's fine. Rookie quarterback. That Bears team, again, like we said, is built around him. It's built to bring him up.
Yeah. And I think the Bears defense is good, but it's not that good.
No.
That's about Will Levis.
I completely agree.
In my opinion.
The Bears, I completely agree. So, that's the Bears-Titans.
Yeah. Colts Texans.
Yeah.
Hell of a game, right?
Amazing game. I
Whew!
mean, Anthony Richardson's bomb on his back foot as he's falling.
60 yards.
That's insanity.
Every quarterback, former quarterback, has commented on that and been like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
What an arm. What a cannon.
Oh, dude's loaded. And it's insane. And, I think it was Alec Pierce that might have caught that.
Yeah.
Great wide receivers around him. They kind of go under the radar, no pun intended. But, to blow that game, it's rough. That'll come back to bite him in the butt come week 17, 18, when the Colts then need to beat the Texans.
It will.
And, that was great football. Texans looked amazing. Joe Mixon is that sneaky rusher that everyone forgets about, but he is a really, really good running back.
He is. You're so right. And I mean, I got to count myself in that where I discounted him. I'm like, Joe Mixon, It
wasn't until the running back ratings that we even noticed that he was the 5th leading rusher last year.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I wouldn't have known that.
No. And here he is making a huge difference in a close game,
Yeah.
which is going to serve them well as it gets, into the winter time of the season and all that stuff. Yeah. And I mean, for Colts fans, you got to be pretty stoked about what you have, though.
Yep.
I mean, you didn't win, but you looked awfully damn good.
I wouldn't be mad about that.
And you got the pieces there to do it. So
yes. The only problem is the next game is at Texas. That will be rough. But for the meantime, I agree. Colts, I like where you're at position.
Yep. Dolphins beat the Jaguars, rally to beat them.
Yep.
Jaguars had the lead. Dolphins come back strong.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot to say there. I don't know what to make of the Jaguars.
No, I'm still trying to figure that out. And again, I'm not high on the Jaguars.
Me neither.
I'm not high on either one of these teams. And
True.
Tua had plenty of balls that were overthrown. Looked a little bit rough. Again, week 1. It's hard to figure out who's in which camp of it's week 1 and who's terrible.
Yeah.
And frankly, the Jaguars blowing this lead was a bit horrible. Or no, it was tied most of the time, wasn't it?
I think it was.
I'm thinking of the Bears.
But the Jaguars were in the lead. I mean, it was 17-7 at one point.
Okay.
At halftime.
Yep.
It was 17-14 in the third quarter, and then they lost it in the fourth.
Damn. Yeah. I didn't watch that game quite as closely because other than fantasy, if you have Waddle or Tyreek or someone like that, you'll be watching because those are people you depend on for points. But that's a lower scoring game than I expected.
Yeah.
ETN, I think, he had a touchdown, but again,
and a fumble, I think, too.
And a fumble.
Yeah.
So it's like Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
That's basically a home game for both teams.
And is it Tank Bigsby?
Yes.
I mean, I think he's getting ready to move into a bigger role there.
It sounded like they were high on him, and he had a great game, I think. Or
he did.
Much better game than they expected.
He did. I think it was like 10 carries for 70-some yards. And
That's pretty
I mean, he was a beast when he was running the ball. The other thing, crap, I just lost it. Anyway.
I do remember the Jaguars having a great D-line, so I'm interested to see if that carries over to other games.
Yeah.
I have nothing else.
Yeah.
Weird game, good for the Dolphins, but also, with Thursday Night Football coming up, who knows?
We'll get another look at them, huh?
Yep.
Saints just throttle the Panthers. And, again, I got to say, I really thought Bryce Young would be looking better coming out of the gate.
Yeah.
He didn't. He looked the same. And I don't know what the hell the problem is. He's got the new OC that I've raved about from Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield will get to that look better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Bryce Young, my God.
I think the team's falling apart before it even started.
It's a disaster.
That defensive tackle on the Panthers, that was like their best player, is now hurt for the season, I think. Or
Good Lord.
He's hurt. I'm not even going to act like I know what's happening.
Yeah.
Panthers are a dumpster fire. Similarly to the Giants.
Yeah.
Unless you had some dad.
No, I think that's enough there,
Yeah.
Derek Carr, whatever. Yeah, the Giants, 6 points. 6 points. Sam Darnold looked like a world beater.
Yeah.
Just destroying them. I don't know how Daniel Jones is still the starting quarterback. I don't know how the coach is still the coach there.
No.
And if they look terrible again in week 2, they got to make changes.
I think it will.
They should have made changes in the offseason, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think week 2 and 3, it's going to get, pretty loud for both parties, both the front office and the players/coaches.
You got shit for Saquon Barkley, which is just humiliating.
Yeah, front office should have sold the team right
humiliating.
there. Or I guess GM should have been fired. I think that was the GM, not the owner. But...
Yeah, and the owners, long-time owners.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on with the Mars there, but come on. I mean, try to put something out there.
Yeah,
it's New York, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I'm sure it's getting loud out there for them. It's a loud, big market. And the Vikings coming in with Sam Darnold and winning that game is pretty piss poor.
And just making them look pitiful in the process.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Chargers Raiders?
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, baby, that was amazing. It's been so long since I remember the Chargers having a solid defense.
Man.
They gave up some plays to Gardner Minshew in the first half. It was a little
Yeah.
rough. That's fine. Coming out, honestly, the biggest surprise was Antonio Pierce kicking that punt in the fourth quarter. They were down 6, I think, at that point, and it was on their own side of the 50, and they punted on like a 4th and 6 maybe.
Didn't go for it.
Didn't go for it. I did not understand that. I don't know what they expected, but I'm pretty sure the Chargers went right back down the field and scored, and then that put it away
Wow.
for the most part. Herbert looked about as good as you'd expect for those wide receivers. Quentin Johnston looked better. I'm high on him this year. I'm hoping he does well. Lad McConkey caught a touchdown, had some pretty good juke moves. Excited for that. Josh Palmer started throwing fists at the Raiders players. Fucking
little attitude.
Knock one out. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
It's been too long I've heard about the Raiders being this physical beast. And then you know what? Joe Alt Delete came in and put down Max Crosby.
Nice.
It was beautiful. I couldn't have asked for anything better.
That would have been a great matchup to watch.
It was phenomenal. And then Rashawn Slater on the other side of it. The center position may be a little weaker now. But you know what? Having both the sides covered and putting down Max Crosby the way they did.
Impressive.
Chef's kiss. I did not expect it to go that well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Good defense, improved blocking.
Dobbins
and Gus Edwards, great duo out of the gate, assuming they stay healthy. Lord knows they'll be hurt by week 4.
That's incredible, though.
But Jim Harbaugh has clearly already worked on a lot more than any of these coaches have, the last maybe 3 coaches.
That's something.
What was it, Mike McCoy? Yeah, Mike McCoy.
Yep.
Anthony Lynn.
Yes.
And then Brandon Staley.
Yep.
This is the best I've seen the players play for someone in such a long time. He's so clearly a player's coach. And again, I don't give a shit about college football. I don't watch it that much. I don't care that much. In the NFL, though, when you earn the respect and it's clearly there, I'm pumped. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid now.
And all you know is college, NFL, because he's been there before at the Niners.
Yep.
He's a winner. He finds a way to win games.
All of those programs, I think they showed 4. It was San Diego State, 49ers, Michigan, and maybe another college that I can't remember. Stanford. He turned all the programs around. So I'm firmly drinking the Kool-Aid and
there you go.
each week to week.
Yep. Broncos, Seahawks. So
for Bo Nix's rookie game,
not bad.
Not terrible.
Yeah. I mean, the Broncos still have a lot of question marks, but the Seahawks, you would say on paper, probably a much better team than the Broncos.
I would say.
And they only won by 6.
Yeah, Geno's, I don't know if it was that Seattle line or if it was that Broncos line, but the Broncos defense did not look that bad.
Right.
I think they had a couple interceptions or fumbles, a couple sacks here and there. I was very surprised with how sound they played. Not saying that Sean Payton's a bad coach, but, the roster's kind of nothing compared to the rest of the NFL. Yeah. So to make only a loss by 6 in that game at Seattle.
Yep.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
Honestly.
They got to figure out a running game.
Yes.
Doesn't seem like they really have an identity there yet.
They were working on getting Javonte Williams involved, and they just couldn't.
No, it just wasn't going.
It wasn't working right. So
yeah, we'll see. Maybe
if I'm a Broncos fan, I'm happy with the performance, and if I'm a Seattle fan, I'm having some questions.
Yeah, I would say that's true, even though they won, right?
Yeah, I would.
So, Cowboys, Browns. Yeah, pretty pleased. Shortly before the game started, while they were still at the Marriott, I don't know if it was the night before or the morning of, but they got the deal done with Dak to make him the highest paid player ever. He gets $231 million guaranteed, 4-year extension, which is really interesting. Playing Deshaun Watson, his guarantee was $230 million. So there's $1 million difference.
Battled of the
in the bank
money
between those two.
Yeah,
looked like a lot bigger than that on the field.
Well, I think we can guess on who's going to be keeping that contract a little bit longer.
And so it's kind of interesting there. I mean, with the Cowboys, Mike Zimmer. All offseason has been talked about how the Cowboys didn't do enough, didn't do anything. Jerry said he was all in, and now CD's back in the fold, Dak's in the fold. Everybody's fat and happy with their contracts, and the Cowboys, Mike Zimmer, turns out to be maybe the best offseason acquisition by what he did with the defense.
Yep.
It looked like an entirely different defense from what Dan Quinn had done there, not just relying on the takeaways,
right,
but also the pressures and the sacks that they got. Mm-hmm. So they I think the Browns had, if I remember, 14 possessions, and they scored on 14%, which was the lowest percentage of possessions on the weekend.
Wow.
So a touchdown and a field goal. a meaningless touchdown, actually. So we'll see if they can keep that going against the Saints this week.
Playing down Cleveland's not easy, and they looked damn good.
They were 8-1, something like that, at home last year.
Yeah.
The Browns, man, Deshaun Watson is just amazingly awful.
Oh, it's crazy. And now they're saying, another sexual assault case pops up.
Yep.
And on top of him just being, he looks garbage.
And
you can't put a bow on it.
You can't. There's just nothing. And I feel bad for Myles Garrett and that defense. Mm-hmm. They're being wasted by this situation.
Yep.
And the only thing that could possibly save the Browns is if he's found guilty of this situation. It will, I believe, void his contract. Give them a shot to get out from under it.
That's one of the headlines I saw. I don't know the validity of it, but
if you're a Browns fan, that's what you're wishing for right now.
Some way out of the contract would be nice for a Browns fan, I would imagine.
Yep.
Not that we're hoping that he's guilty, but for the sake of the voided contract.
Yep.
But neither here nor there.
Exactly. Buccaneers.
Baker's a dog.
Commanders.
If I'm Browns front office, I feel like a moron going with Deshaun Watson over Baker Mayfield.
Oh my God, what a mess up! That is just a giant. He looked even better than last year. I thought.
He did. Out of the gate, he was just firing all cylinders. Mike Evans had 3 touchdowns.
Oh my
looked
gosh.
like a god. It was phenomenal from Baker.
I saw his quote. He said, "If Mike Evans is single covered, I'm throwing him the ball. It's cheating. I know, but
it looked.
But I will.
But Baker had amazing throws that just landed perfectly on contested catches in Mike Evans' hands. It's a complete 50-50.
Yeah.
Like on who's doing the most there,
Yep. I think he started the game like 11 for 11, some crazy shit like that.
That sounds right to me.
And
it was insanity.
It was. On the other side, Commanders, the kicker you've had all offseason, Cade York, has already been released. Missed 2 field goals in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels honestly looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Moved the ball. I thought he looked better than Caleb Williams did.
I agree.
And I'd say the Buccaneers are even tougher than the Titans.
No doubt. And also, I would definitely say they need to find him a helmet that fits, because I think they ran that goal line run 3 times before it was legally a touchdown.
Really?
He fell into it twice, but his helmet fell off 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
And then, the plays stopped dead as soon as the helmet's off the ball carrier. Yeah. So he was down at the 1 twice.
Yeah.
Find a helmet that fits. For the love of God. Stop brutalizing your body on your first game in the NFL.
Terry McLaurin, for fantasy fans, didn't have a good game, but it's the first time, and I got to believe that Jaden Daniels is going to be hooking up with him starting this week or next week. They'll get it figured out, but Jaden Daniels certainly looks like the real deal to me.
I agree, and it felt like you can scale down the entire week's offense, like I already said. Everything that you wanted to happen, if it was less than that, it'll come up to that, I think.
Yeah.
One less preseason game, a lot of starters don't play in those anymore, so everyone was rusty.
Yep.
I think first half across the entire 4 o'clock slate was like nothing but field goals.
Yeah.
So, and as for the first 1 p.m. slate, I'm not quite sure, but everything was down.
Dang. Sunday night game,
Rams-Lions.
Whew.
The ending to that was hilarious.
What a game.
What is it only in the playoffs that each team gets a confirmed possession, and in the regular season?
I thought in the regular season, if you score a touchdown, it's over.
Right.
But if they only get a field goal, you get a possession back the other way.
Right, and then in the playoffs, isn't it different where both teams get a possession?
I think that's no matter what, even if it's a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure on that part.
I heard a lot of stuff about that, and I think that's my understanding. I can't remember what they've changed at this point, so take this with a grain of salt. Regardless, on that last drive for the Lions, they just went down the field running back. It was David Montgomery, 8 plays, and they scored a touchdown, the game's over.
Yep.
That is insane that the Rams could not stop that. A phenomenal O-line from the Detroit Lions.
Absolutely. And I think it also speaks to the inexperience and the youth of the Rams now.
Yes.
With Aaron Donald not there in the middle.
Yes.
They lost, I believe, a couple other people too. And so that defense just broke down at the end of the game, worn out, broke down, not experienced.
Can't blame them. The first game, primetime in Detroit.
And kudos to Dan Campbell, whoever was calling those plays, for recognizing that and just not being cute. Just jam it down their throats.
Yeah, he was not losing another overtime. And for what it's worth, Amon St. Brown.
St. Brown for the Lions.
Non-existent in that game with Williams back.
Yeah, Jameson Williams.
Just lights out.
Yeah.
I think with him getting, was it suspended last year for gambling?
Yeah.
So now he's back this year.
Yep.
And now he's just shutting them out.
Oh,
it's crazy. They added this, he was on the roster last year, didn't play.
Yeah.
But it's crazy having him back. How much more like weapons the Lions now have that no one realized. I didn't realize.
I don't think Laporta did a whole lot.
No.
Like you said, St. Brown didn't do a whole lot.
No.
And I had him. I was like, what the hell?
What's going on over here?
Yeah.
This Williams guy's just running crazy over them.
Further, I think the Rams. I mean, Puka's out now.
Yeah, that was huge. I almost forgot about that.
That's big. And then also I think 2 linemen. Remember, they were injured in the preseason or early in the training camp times. I think they had 2 offensive linemen go out during the game, too. So they were building that protection for Stafford, and now they're already in trouble with it. That's what sucks about the NFL. Again, not for long, right? NFL. You do all this preparation. You wait to see it as fans. Can't imagine for the coaches. And then the first week and some shit happens like that, and it's just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yes, all this time and money for their sake, and then you, as a fan, put all this, but saying emotionally invested is
Kool-Aid drinking.
Yeah, you're getting yourself excited. It's the first week, and then that happens.
Oh, it's such a bummer.
It is, and it seems most of the time to happen to different teams, aside from the typically terrible.
Yep.
And then 49ers Jets. I kind of assumed this would happen.
I thought the Niners would probably win. I just didn't think it would be in such a dominating fashion.
Yes. Why can't Mason?
Yeah,
Christian
Jordan Mason.
McCaffrey,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's clear that anybody can run on that team.
Late scrub, right? So for fantasy owners, that was a nightmare.
Yep.
Because that was your number 1 pick.
Yep.
It was mine in one of my 4 leagues.
As it probably should be.
Yep. And Jordan Mason comes in, tears it up, looks incredible. Breece Hall, not as much, but not bad.
Good game.
Yeah.
But, didn't have a dominating game like George Mason did.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he has to knock off that rust and makes total sense. I mean, he looked very good, but they're just not in sync yet.
No, and you're going East Coast to West Coast. It's Rodgers' first game in 2 seasons, full game.
Yep.
And on top of the whole thing, it's against the fucking 49ers.
Yeah.
Cards are stacked against you in that situation. And it's clear, too, that, the fucking 49ers still have a amazing defense, a great O-line.
Yeah.
Kittle's still there, Debo's there, Ayuk's back, Christian McCaffrey, George Mason. Correct me if I'm missing anybody, but it feels like they're back.
Yeah, exactly right. And for Aaron Rodgers, he's got to be thinking to some extent. I mean, the first few plays, Breece Hall fumbles, pass gets dropped, hits
Lazard, Wilson.
Oh, Lazard, yeah, in the hands basically. And Aaron Rodgers is thinking, God, here we go. Now I'm still upright. Now we can't play. And then their defense essentially can't stop the run.
Yeah, that baffled me.
Because they were much better against the run last year, weren't they?
That's what I thought.
I thought so.
Maybe I'm wrong. Obviously, Sauce locked down Brandon Ayuk in that game. I'm not taking away from the Jets' entire defense, but their inability to stop that run is what I believe is tending more to the 49ers O-line.
Yeah.
I think the Jets
you might be right.
Still have a really good line. Obviously, Hassan Reddick's not there yet.
Right.
We'll see if he ever shows up. That might change the whole thing. But that 49ers O-line, I think, is just dominant. Trent Williams is a beast.
There you go.
No doubt.
That's the guy. I mean, and the rest of them just follow suit.
And I mean, with one of your players getting shot.
Yeah.
Not even a week before that game.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think the team's fired up.
Yeah.
But
they're just pretty damn good. That's all.
T's and P's for that guy. They got shot for the rollie, but it seems like he's doing just fine. He was on the sideline with the same Rolex on during the game. Shit. So pretty funny. It seems like the team's in high hopes, but that was just
it's terrible.
And then Bengals, Patriots.
Oh yeah, we didn't hit that one.
We'll smack that real quick.
Yeah, good grief.
Is Joe healthy? I'm just kidding. I'm baiting all the
Cincinnati is a mess.
Yeah, T. Higgins was out. Jamar Chase was in. T. Higgins had a weird hamstring injury, right? And then they said Jamar Chase might have had food poisoning. Is that how it
might have been? Yeah,
something like that.
Yep.
Regardless, whoever was in was in. Whoever was out was out. It looked like that Bengals O-line couldn't stop them from just getting to Joe Burrow.
Big problem.
And that caused the coaching then only call short passes for the most part.
Yeah.
And then from there, nothing could ever get started. That was rough.
You said it. Both of us heard NFL radio, and we had heard a caller, didn't know if he was a Cincinnati fan or not, but he called in and he goes, what that organization's doing in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow is just appalling.
Yeah.
They don't put a line out there for him to block for him, and they put him out in those situations, wonder why he's getting hurt. Not incorrect.
Unreasonable.
You know,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And as you Bengals fans out there, I'm sure it's just frustrating as shit. However, the Bengals historically have terrible week ones.
Yeah.
So they're not out of it yet. It's sad that it happened against the Patriots because that's in conference, but it is what it is. I'm sure they'll bounce back. Not against the Chiefs. Probably against whoever's week 3.
Yep.
And most of those situations too, it's been a home opener or a week 1 loss mixed with a next week 2 incredibly tough opponent that then parlays into them winning week 3. So
yeah, so maybe we stay right there and start a nice segue.
Yeah.
Into looking forward to this week.
Yeah, sure.
Which is amazing, games end on Monday. You get Tuesday, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday in fantasy, you do your free agency stuff.
Yep.
And basically, Thursday night, you're back in the next week. It's just crazy how it
I love it.
moves on through.
I love we're so back.
Football crack.
Yeah, Bills Dolphins Thursday.
Yep.
Personally, I liked the Dolphins money line out of the gate. I'm leaning back towards the Bills again now with Mostert, and Etienne as of right now is questionable.
Right.
This comes out tomorrow morning. I don't know what it's going to be by then.
Yeah, I heard today it looks like Jeff Wilson's going to play a bigger role for all that.
I would imagine. Still have Tyreek and Waddle.
Somebody in one of my fantasy leagues dropped Waddle.
Wow, after 1 week?
Yeah.
That's rough. That's his own opinion,
yeah, anyway.
I guess. Bills defense, I don't know what to make of it. Bills have they're like 8-2 against the Bills in the last 10 appearances against the Dolphins. I'm so sorry.
Yep.
So I'm leaning Bills at this point. The Dolphins are still favored at home, but the Bills just have the Dolphins' number.
They find a way,
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they find a way, and you got Josh Allen who's going to do his thing no matter what. Doesn't matter who's on defense for the Dolphins.
Yep.
And the Dolphins are just a softer team.
It feels that way.
And I think the Bills are a tougher team, and I think they punch them in the gut, and then the Bills just take over the game.
Yeah.
It's how it seems like it's gone in most of those matchups.
There's going to be some big throws to Tyreek, but I feel like maybe I shouldn't have as much faith in Sean McDermott, but for some reason it just feels like Sean McDermott knows how to handle Tua.
He does.
I could be wrong, but it feels that way, so I'm just going to lean Bills.
I'm with you.
Does it have the over-under
on
that? 48.5. Ooh, it dropped a little bit. We have a hunch?
I'm going to go under on that one.
Under? All right, Coy Pond pick of the week, Thursday night. We're going under again because it can't miss twice. Nevertheless, looking at the 1 o'clock slate out of the gate on Sunday.
Got the Saints at the Cowboys, and, Derek Carr comes out looking like a world beater against the Panthers, but looked like he's got his groove going on, so we'll see if he can take that down to Dallas. And can the Cowboys find a running game? I think that's going to be the biggest thing.
I think so.
Here, Zeke was able to do enough. He didn't look awesome, but he didn't look bad.
Right.
And can Zimmer keep that defense going like it is?
And
so you get your first test with a apparently high-powered offense with Derek Carr against Mike Zimmer.
And that they didn't even use Chris Olave in the last game, and I really know that the Saints have a great O-line coming off of week 1, given, again, against the Panthers, but what the Cowboys did to the Cleveland Browns, Derek Carr is going to get hit, and he's going to get scared. That's just how Derek Carr works.
Yeah.
That's why I don't really see this game being much of anything. I would take that Dallas, was it -6.5?
Yeah.
I'd be confident with the 6.5. Maybe tease that to 5.5. No, yeah, I'd take the 6.5.
Take the 6.5?
Cowboys at home are just a different animal.
They are.
And the Saints just got done playing basically the AAA version of an NFL team, it feels like right now.
And again, the Cowboys in these games, like you say, 1 o'clock, not prime time, not playoff games.
No pressure.
At home.
Not really any pressure for that matter. And never forget when the Cowboys beat the Saints' undefeated record with Drew Brees way back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So historically, I'm just going to go Cowboys.
We go to Ford Field for a matchup between the Lions and the Packers.
I hope that's a shootout.
Should be a really great game.
That has the potential to
51.5.
Yeah. Good Lord. I don't know. Seeing how the Buccaneers find a way to stop Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery.
Yeah.
Jared Goff can always throw downfield to any of the weapons we've already talked about, but it'll be interesting to see if anybody can stop that run. It'll kind of lean its way to be like, is the Lions O-line really what it's cracked up to be, or is it, not quite as good as people might think after 1 week? Again, it was the Rams, though, so it's hard not to think that.
Yeah, right.
As for the Buccaneers, against that Lions defense, I'm interesting to watch because they might have those 2 rookie safeties we talked about earlier in the season in there.
Yeah.
They might They might live to the challenge since it's still at Detroit. But who knows? Baker, after week 1, looks
Finds
like
a
a
way.
dog.
He does.
I don't think the Washington defense is anything special, but
No.
I'm curious to see Aiden Hutchinson, how he works it, and how
Right.
those 2 new safeties work.
Yeah, I would definitely take the Lions. I don't know if they'll cover that spread though.
-7.5 after what
That's
the Buccaneers did. It feels like an overreaction.
Yeah, I think
Just
so.
my opinion.
Yep.
Colts Packers.
All right.
Well, I'm just gonna go Colts. I know this is at Lambeau, historic
Yep.
spot. Malik Willis, I don't have much faith in. I think the Colts are going to be a little bit angry after last week.
Yep.
Assuming Anthony Richardson doesn't get beheaded in this game, running it into the end zone, I think Colts probably win this.
Yeah, favored by 3, which is really odd
Yeah,
for them on the road, especially at Green Bay.
That means that basically they were favored by 6, and they gave 3 to the Packers for home field advantage. Not much to talk about there, honestly, just with Jordan Love being out. Malik Willis, we'll see if, Shanahan's system, is that LaFleur?
Yeah, LaFleur.
And we'll see, because I know for a little bit there, people were saying Aaron Rodgers was constantly changing plays on LaFleur, and that's why that didn't work out like how they expected. But Jordan Love coming in was more willing to work with LaFleur on his system. So,
and I would take the under on that personally.
What was that at?
40.5.
Yeah, that feels like an under game.
I could see it being like 27-3, something like that.
I agree.
We got the Jets and the Titans. So Aaron Rodgers wants to win a game. This is in Nashville. Brian Campbell wants to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
Will Levis at the moment sucks.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm taking that Jets, no doubt. They got dog walked a little bit by the 49ers, but the Titans are not that team.
No.
And that Jets defense, I think, was going to prove something against that young quarterback, and he's not going to fix all those problems in 1 week.
Yeah.
The panic that sets in, Steelers beat him in his opening one last year. I think the Jets handle it this year.
They're going to be pissed. They're going to be after Will Levis.
It feels like it.
And 3.5, favored by 3.5, I think that they cover that.
I really think the Jets cover that too.
Yeah, no doubt. Niners, Vikings. Oh, poor Matt Darnold.
Here's the thing. Darnold had the second best, I think it was QBR this past week.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the Vikings win this. I'm just saying this feels like a trap game to me.
Okay.
This feels like a week 2. 49ers get really comfortable. They just beat Aaron Rodgers and the Jets on Monday Night Football. They're going to Minnesota. They're playing a Sam Darnold that they know very well after he played with them last year. Aaron Jones didn't look too bad opening week. Justin Jefferson's still there. TJ Hawkinson's still hurt. I don't know who's in this place, but
that's our Jordan Mason plays again for the Niners.
Yep. I'm not going to make a pick for this because frankly it scares me. 49ers should win this easily. But something about it I don't like.
Bugs you.
It just bugs me.
So they're favored by 6 and the Lions 46.5.
Yeah, probably a little overreaction to the Vikings winning against the Giants last week if I had to guess. But again, I'm not touching it personally.
Personally, I would take the over.
Yeah.
I see like a 24-23 or something like that.
Hell, I could even see a 30-21 or 35-21.
Yeah, but I think it's an over.
Mm-hmm.
Vikings will score more than you think. The 49ers will score plenty.
Yeah,
more likely.
No, I like that.
Patriots and Seahawks, interesting matchup.
Yeah, after last week, Seahawks looked a little bit down. Patriots looked a little bit up. Was it Gerard Mayo's first game as a head coach? And it went pretty well, I'd say.
Great game plan.
After what Geno Smith looked like, Patriots defense, I guess, is not terrible.
If they can play the same kind of game
at home
where they don't make mistakes,
Yep.
They play sound defense, I think I'd take the Patriots. And again, this is West Coast traveling east.
Yeah, it is.
Which isn't easy.
No, I think I'm going to go Patriots too. And frankly, Ramondre Stevenson, if he just looks half decent, it feels like they can rely on him and then let Jacoby Brissett just kind of dump it as he needs.
Yeah, Stevenson looked like a beast.
He did.
So
Patriots it is.
I agree. Woohoo!
Oh, boy.
Okay, this Giants, Commanders, at Commanders.
I feel like you got to roll Commanders.
I believe so.
We don't even talk about it.
No.
There's nothing to. It's at Washington.
Jaden Daniels outduels Daniel Jones. That'll be the headline.
Yep.
Oh, the Chargers get a delicious matchup.
Oh, I hate this so much. Chargers at Panthers.
At Charlotte.
I will say the difference between the previous years and this year that I do like the Chargers in is the fact that their defense is sound and this doesn't rely on Justin Herbert. This a physical rushing game mixed with a solid defense and a good O-line travels better than if you're relying on throwing the ball constantly. I firmly believe this is a trap game. But, as a Chargers fan, I have to assume they'll beat the shit out of them. I think you can get 2 tickets for $1.80 at the Panthers game now already, so look for that if you're in the Charlotte area if you want to see that.
Chargers in a blowout. Chargers cover the 6 points, I think.
I'm hoping.
Win by 10 plus, I would say.
Hoping.
Browns, Jaguars in Jacksonville.
The stink fest. You got to go with the Jaguars after what that game looked like against the Cowboys. They're traveling to Jacksonville now.
Yep.
Jacksonville has a pretty good D-line from
what
I remember.
Their defense played pretty well.
Their defense wasn't terrible against Miami.
Miami's a high-scoring offense, and they kept them to 17 points.
Yeah.
So,
and with how Deshaun Watson looked, if he beats the case, and I believe he's starting this upcoming weekend, that's already been confirmed.
Yeah.
I just got to go with the Jaguars.
Yep. Sorry, 20 points, not 17. But, yeah, still, I think Jaguars win that one.
Oof.
Raiders, Ravens.
Ravens are going to be out for blood. Those are 2 dirty, physical teams historically.
Ravens favored by 9.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with Ravens win that. I would hope it's by at least 9, especially because the Chargers beat them by 12. But, yeah, I think the Ravens win that one easy.
Yeah, and I would think Derrick Henry in this game, I think they go back to the good old-fashioned, they saw the Chargers do it to the Raiders, run it down their frickin' throats.
Yep.
I think Derrick Henry does have his first 100-yard game for the Ravens.
I could see that, and also, I bet you Devontae Adams, if he doesn't get the ball nearly as much as he did last week, is going to have a fit.
Yeah.
It feels like we're creeping up on a Devontae Adams
situation. Yep. Could be traded before the deadline.
Yep.
We got a while, but already I'd say he's an early candidate to be on another team.
I would 100% agree with that, and we'll see if Aaron Rodgers gets into the Jets.
That's what I was thinking too. Rams, Cardinals at Arizona.
Big divisional game. Cardinals came out gunslinging.
They did.
Rams didn't look bad, but Puka's hurt.
Yeah.
You know who that wide receiver 1 is now.
Yep. Their defense, you could run on them. The Cardinals saw that last week with the Lions.
James Conner looked good.
They've got a ground game, and they've got a quarterback that can run on like Jared Goff.
No, I agree. I might favor the Cardinals here. To
be
honest, just with the home field advantage there and it being a divisional.
I agree.
Those are much more level playing grounds.
Yep.
We didn't see much from McBride, I don't think, against the Bills.
We didn't.
I could see it coming out now.
Yep.
We'll see if Kyler Murray really said those things about getting Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball or not. Maybe he has a breakout game. I'm probably just going to lean Cardinals.
Agree with you. And they're favored by 1, so they win straight up.
Pick them.
Steelers, Broncos. Oh, Lord.
Sorry, Jordan. I firmly believe the Steelers defense will manhandle Bo Nix.
And this is in Denver, but T.J. Watt, my goodness
that man
gracious.
Is a beast. It's not even fair.
And if you look at the stat line, you don't see him under many numbers.
No.
But if you watch the game, you're like, how can his stats be as low for what he did in the game? He's just such a giant disrupted force.
Well, you saw that call against the Falcons that they called him off sides, but he moved
and he
perfectly with the ball.
It was a terrible...
That might have been one of the most perfect
timed snaps.
I've ever seen personally.
I saw that, and it was just incredible. I'm like, oh my God, why do I have to relive the Cowboys taking stupid Taco Charlton
over TJ
one Watt. Pick over TJ Watt? What a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah. So
this guy is a lifetime, a legend. An
immediate legend.
Oh my God.
Mike Tomlin knows how to use him.
Took him for a regular taco.
Yep.
Instead.
Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah, the Steelers win that game.
And
it'll be a hard-fought battle.
Yep.
Because Justin Fields is going to be Justin Fields, right?
Yep, I completely agree.
So this could be another one like the Atlanta game where it's 18-10 or some shit like that.
Over-under is 36.5. Jesus.
I'd go the under.
Yeah, I'd just take the Steelers straight up. But yeah,
me too.
No, I agree. The under could very well hit.
Will the Bengals get on track against the Chiefs? They love this team. They always play well against them. Is this the tonic they need?
It's hard to say yes to that. It feels like they lose this one.
Chiefs by 5 is the line.
The Bengals always do play really well against the Chiefs. I'm going to bite my tongue on this pick and say nothing because, again, I could see there being a real chance the Bengals win this by 3, and I could see a real chance the Chiefs win this by 17.
Yeah.
With how they played last week. Again, It's like we're watching last week. I don't think the Bengals defense would have a answer for Xavier Worthy jet sweeps necessarily out of the gate. I don't know if any team in the NFL will. And then with having Kelsey and all them still, and I think T. Higgins is out another week.
Yeah, I think so.
So I just don't see it. I just see the Chiefs.
It's going to be a tough matchup for sure, and definitely one that'll be watched around all the bars and houses here. So
no doubt.
Yeah, I could see it being close Bengals or a blowout Chiefs, I think.
And, that's really the two only options. But again, it's hard to tell. I'm biting my tongue on it. I'm not saying anything.
I think that's a good move. So the Sunday night game is the Bears at the Titans or Texans.
Yeah.
And Houston's favored by 6.
I think the Texans destroy them.
Me too.
I don't see this being even a close game. Frankly, Bears are the Bears. They have like we've said 1,000 times, a good team with a rookie quarterback. I just did not see enough last week from Caleb Williams to think that in prime time the Texans wouldn't be able to handle them at home.
Completely agree. And to me, again, it's, you're sub 100 yards to the Titans. Yeah. You're not going to do much better against the Texans, if at all. You're not going to get defensively for the Bears. You're not going to get the turnovers and the points off returns that you got from the Titans. That's just not going to happen against the Texans. So this is going to be, they're favored by 6, Houston.
I could see it winning by 7.
This is going to be ugly. I could see it being like 30-10.
Yeah, I might even sprinkle the over, to be honest. 45.5 right now. But no, Texans win that.
Big rout, I would say, huh?
Yep. Falcons at Eagles.
Monday night.
The
bird game.
The bird game. Oh.
Got to think that Kirk Cousins struggles again.
Yeah.
It's prime time, which we know it's not his time to be playing.
No, Kirk Cousins in prime time is garbage. Eagles favored by 6.5 is nice. I'd probably just take that out of the gate, not think twice.
Yep.
I feel like the more thinking you do on this, the worse you're going to do.
It's true. It's like standing over a putt. The longer you pause, the worse the putt is.
Yep.
Get up there, look at it, hit it, go with your gut. And the Eagles, Saquon Barkley, going to have a beast of a game.
I assume so.
And yeah, there's just no doubt about it.
If they look the way they did at Atlanta, being that Philly is different.
Yeah. Philly is a wicked place. I got a Philly steak and cheesesteak one time, just passing through there on my way to Europe for work. And I didn't have any Cowboys shit on. And sat there, and man, I'm glad I didn't, because they talk about football nonstop. Oh, yeah.
That town is...
It's nuts.
It's a different universe.
It is totally different.
And they're going to eat that man alive, I think.
If Kirk Cousins was cowering against the Steelers, and that was at home, this is going to be worse on the road.
I completely agree. R.I.P. Kirk Cochains. They could start 0-2 this season.
And we might see Michael Penix pretty quick here now, for a spark.
Because there has been discussions about Kirk Cousins' injury. If he's still a little... Not injured, that's the wrong word, but if it still bothers him a little bit. And then if they end up using Michael Penix, maybe not this game, probably not this game. Because you wouldn't even put him in if they're losing, probably.
Yeah.
But
unless it's something with the injury, and you couch it with that, now you've got a reason to do it.
It's not the worst thing ever, but it'll be interesting. I really think the Falcons can't stand this.
Oh, it's just terrible.
Yeah.
And imagine what the owner is doing. Remember on draft day when they took Penix after they already had Kurt? And remember the owner was just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Why?
And so, oh my gosh, it could be a mess by the end of week 2.
It'd be hilarious if there was a conspiracy that the Falcons coach, Mostert, or whatever his name is, hates Kirk Cousins, but the front office signed Kirk Cousins. And then he just went in and was like, I'm getting my guy. And got Michael Penix, and then by the end of this game, he's playing because they're down 35-10.
Yeah, that could very well happen. And even if it's in a situation like that at the end of a game, it starts to feed the whole storyline.
No doubt. So we'll see what we see.
All right, buddy.
That's about all I've got.
Fabulous.
All right, another podcast over with.
In the books.
We will see you all next week. Hope you win all your bets and your fantasy shit. I'll start having more picks from week to week, but.
Best of luck.
Sometimes they don't speak to me. Nevertheless, we will see you all next week.
Thank you.